this works. Okay, we're recording. So well, it's good evening your time, but it's good morning my time. But our hello video today, I'm very excited because I am with one of my paisanos from Italy, Riccardo Massi, who is an opera singer. And some of the society members may recall meeting Riccardo. Riccardo actually met Nina, Frank, and Adeline Panizzo when he sang at the Palm Beach Opera House. And then he sang at the Kennedy Center, and we planned a whole trip. We stayed at the Watergate Hotel, and we then went to see Riccardo's performance. And then afterwards, Riccardo hung out with us at the Watergate Hotel. And we had a really great time. Wasn't that fun, Riccardo? It was nice, right? 2 years ago. 2 years.
Yeah, as you were saying, 2 years, almost 2 years. That feels like yesterday. I mean, it's unbelievable how fast time goes by.
And when I think about everything that I did before the pandemic, and sometimes, we thought about, like, do we want to put a trip together? Do we want to go down to DC? And we're like, this would really be fun, and we could see you sing. And I'm so glad we didn't then hesitate. We just went and we did it, because I think what we learned from the pandemic is just do it. Like Nike says, right? Just do it, because you don't know what's going to happen.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. As you say, there's so many things that we give, take for granted. Like, oh, I'll do it another time, maybe next month. No, do it
we're not
now,
gonna
because
do that.
if something like this happens, you have to take all the chances, and as the Latin people used to say, carpe diem,
right?
Which means
seize the day.
Don't wait, do it, just exactly. I didn't remember the translation in English.
Seize the day.
Right, that's it.
Yeah, that has more. I always use that saying, but it means so much more now. It's so true.
Yeah.
So let's
Absolutely.
tell the audience. You're saying hello from where?
I'm saying hello from Italy. Actually, from a tiny village, my hometown, a tiny village exactly in the center of Italy, on the mountains. On the mountains called Sibillini. So it's in the region of Marche, and the town is called Sarnano. Such a small town. It's 3,000 people.
Oh, wow.
So small. But I grew up here, born and raised.
Oh, beautiful. And not too far from where my grandfather grew up in San Benedetto.
Exactly. It's just like an hour and a half by car.
So what I love about the Marche region is because they have the mountains and you have the sea. So I always, when I went to visit my grandfather's family, when I came back, everyone said, well, what is it like? And I said, we have the best of both worlds. We have the mountains and we have the sea. And now I know why I'm so conflicted, because usually people, I notice, when they love the mountains, and they're not really beach people. But I find like I love both. And I think that comes from my family, in Italy. So I think you're so lucky to have
this region. This region is perfect.
Yes, it is beautiful.
And I'm not saying that because I'm from here, but actually you have everything you want. It's like being in, Veneto. You have the lakes, you have the mountains, you have the sea, but not so many regions in Italy have this, variety of options. So
when we say
everything is very close.
In Italy, you say if you're from Naples, you're Napolitan. From Rome, you're Roman. What would someone say about you that you're from Marche region? Marchigiano, is that the correct term?
Marchi, the correct
you say
term
it better
is
than I say it.
Marchigiano.
Oh,
Marchigiano, which means man or woman from Marche.
When I was a little girl growing up, we would all talk about, in America, we're all from everywhere, right? So the Italian friends would say, where's your family from? And who was Calabrese and who was Napolitan and Sicilian?
Yeah.
Those were the popular Italians that came to America. And I would say, Marchigiano, right?
Mhm.
And they would be like, what? That's not Italian. And I'm like, no, my grandmother said
Yes,
that's.
it is.
And I would go back to my grandmother and I would say, Grandma, what's the matter? Are we really Italian? Because no one believes that I'm Italian. They've never heard of Marchigiano. So we got to get
No,
some of
but it
Marchigianos
wasn't.
to get to America.
Yeah, but it's not your fault. It's just those guys, they didn't know Italy at all.
Exactly.
But it's not their fault either, because I don't think that in American elementary school they teach you proper Italian geography. They teach you other things, I suppose. So maybe they didn't know. If you ask
I agree.
to some Italians to this day to tell you which is the main town of our region, most of them will give you the wrong answer. So our region is beautiful, but is not very known among Italians and people from outside Italy. And this is much better, trust me.
I know,
There is no wild tourism, no wild tourism here, like in Tuscany, for example.
Right, right.
You know, there's so many tourists not here.
Yes.
Still a virgin place.
Yes, I saw that when I visited, and when we started the Globetrotter program with the donors, we visited Rome, and then I took a week, and one of the other donors, she comes from Abruzzi, her family, we drove all over Abruzzi and the Marche and San Benedetto. Abruzzo, thank you.
Abruzzo, very important.
Abruzzo.
No, because someone from Abruzzo will tell you this.
Get mad at me? Okay. So we drove all around the region and it was beautiful, but I could see the tourism wasn't the same like if you would go to Tuscany or Sicily.
Exactly.
Or other
and it's
areas.
Much better, trust me.
And you speak Italian, like not many of the people speak English. So I really feel like you get the full flavor of Italy when you visit your area. I think it's nice. Yeah. So now I know everybody's interested to hear that what does an opera singer do during a pandemic? What have you been doing to keep yourself busy?
Oh, that's a big question. But I've been talking in all this crazy period. I've been talking to my colleagues and friends, opera singers. Some of them, they just keep studying hard. Or some other people, they just decide to, do something else, keep your voice trained, but, maybe concentrate on family or another business, because it's something, let's be honest, nobody is really prepared for this. Nobody was. So you have to, one of the positive things in this madness is that it really makes you connect with important things, all the silly things that you used to do, or maybe you were losing time. This really makes you focus on what's important. In my case, at the beginning was of course a little bit of a shock, because your agent calls you and tells you there is nothing for months, nothing, because everything is closed. And then maybe they will reopen, but then nothing happens, nothing. And we still cannot see the light at the end of the tunnel, especially in Europe, because at the moment things are going pretty slow with the vaccines here.
That's what we.
I don't know. I don't know how things are going in the US.
We're better. We could be better, but we're better than Europe. That I would say.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So when we will have this vaccine everywhere, maybe life will begin again. What I did, I studied new roles. I focused on first of all getting in a better shape, because I felt it was the right thing to do for me, and then learn new roles. And I started. This is fresh news if you want to know. I started yesterday with my first lesson of bass guitar.
Oh, nice.
Something that I always wanted to do, and now I want to learn.
Great.
And something to invest a little bit on myself.
Sure, very nice.
And next thing is gonna be if everything goes all right and if nothing too crazy happens, next thing should be a production of Don Carlo, an opera from Giuseppe Verdi, in Dresden, Germany, at the beginning of July.
That's great.
If everything goes all right and if there are no surprises with, everybody hopes that by that time virus is under control and people in Germany will make the vaccines as much as possible in order to have a safe environment.
Right.
And from there we will see.
Okay.
Because nobody can do programs at this moment. You
Right.
have to go, I don't want to say day by day, but almost. That's all we can do.
What about in Venice and all of that? Like there's no performances or outdoor performances or anything like that?
Nothing happens. Maybe sometimes they do like a live streaming and there's like, they do one performance and it's like in an empty theater with no audience. And it's so sad. I mean, I'm very happy for the colleagues that do it,
Right.
But at the same time, performing and singing and doing art on an empty theater. You're on a stage, you're acting, and you look at the audience, and there's no one there. I cannot imagine something more sad.
It is sad.
Of course, it's good. But don't get me wrong. It's very good because you're doing it for the people at home.
Of
So
course.
you're trying to communicate something, but if it's not live, if you're not there, I'm sorry, it's not theater.
It's not the same. I agree with you.
It's something that looks like theater, but it's not. There's the energy. It cannot be the same. You're not there. You're not living it. You're living it through a screen,
right?
Which is something very. I don't know the word in English for that, but in Italian it's sterile.
I'm trying to think what that. Yeah. I understand what you're saying, and that's why this month we really wanted to celebrate the arts, because I know no one is ever going to forget opera and jazz and ballet and all of that. We will not going to forget all of you, but I wanted to still make sure that we are remembering it and still trying to enjoy it and embrace it as best we can, like you said, in the way that we can. And I think reaching out to artists like yourself, I think we feel like maybe we're offering some support, and to know that over here your friends here at St. John's University are thinking about you, and we really hope for the best, for you, and that you can get back to singing, because you're just so talented. So how do you keep your voice trained? Because if it's in July, you have to make sure your voice is ready.
I actually never stop.
Oh, okay.
Being an opera singer is like being a professional athlete. If you have like a month off, you just not sit at home like a month doing nothing. You train a little bit less, but you still train. So for me, it's like 4 days a week. 2 days, 1 day rest, and then 2 other days, and 2 days of rest. Always. That's great. Even if I don't do very much, but you always have, if you want to do this job, you always have to keep your voice trained. For example, in the past years, if I used to take like a big vacation, like 2 weeks, 20 days off, like you had like a rough year, you've been like in 20 different countries, so you're like, okay, enough. I need to stop. I need a vacation. Sure. And you stop for 20 days. Wow. And you do nothing with your voice, which is fair. I mean, if you had a rough year, it's a good thing to do, especially for your mind, for your voice. But then when you restart training your voice, you need at least another 20 days to get to the point where you were when you began the vacation.
Wow.
if you know what I mean.
Sure.
So if you take a month off, it takes you another month to get in shape.
Wow.
So yeah, I can stop for a week, but then, you know, as I said, with this pandemic, you never know what happens. So maybe they tell you there's nothing for 4 months, and then maybe one day the phone rings, oh, there's a concert, you have to come, this live streaming thing. And if you haven't been singing for like 2 weeks, you cannot go there and perform because you're not prepared, because your voice is not trained, and you need to, you know, it's like as I said, like an athlete stopping. You need time to get back where you were when you stopped in the first place. So I never stopped.
That's great.
I sang in the morning, Don Carlo. I sang half of the opera, and I will sing the other half of the opera tomorrow, and then I will rest in the weekend, and then on Monday we start over.
You should open up the windows and invite the town and sing out the window.
I did. I did. They complained.
You did? They complained? Oh, I would never complain. Are they crazy? That is, I would have loved that.
No.
Come to New York. You could sing out the window for us.
They had at the beginning was, oh, it's nice, but then after like 2 months, I was like, enough.
That is hysterical.
And I said, all right, I can understand that. It's fair.
Oh, that's so funny. I love it. That is great. But what happened, you know, back in March, you had this, because I know we talked about it when I saw you in Washington. You had this, and you just mentioned it now, this crazy schedule. I know every time when I used to message you, I used to always say, where are you, Riccardo? Are you in Germany? Are you? It's always like, where are you? Yeah. So now you're in how many states in 1 month? And then all of a sudden March, it's like, wham, you're just like nowhere.
Yeah.
How did that feel? I mean, it just shuts down.
Yeah, from a certain point of view, it's from a certain point of view, it's bad because you feel useless. Like I've been, since I left my hometown in 1998, I was like 20, and I left the town. I moved to Rome. I started studying. I did like a billion different jobs, and then I did the audition for Accademia La Scala, and I became a professional opera singer, and I started to travel around the world. So basically, from 1998 until last year, I almost never stopped. Almost never. Wow. And it was fun, you know, a little bit tough sometimes, but fun.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, nothing. From a certain point of view, you feel useless because I'm not working. So what can I do now? And then you need a little bit of time to adjust. And you start a little bit, it's shocking, of course, but then you start to see the bright side of the situation, you know. As I said before, you know, you remember Monty Python? Right. Always look at the bright side of life. And it's true. So you focus on your family, on your friends, on the people you really care about and the people you love. And after the first months, I decided to start teaching. So that's what I'm doing now.
Very nice.
I have a few pupils and I'm teaching.
Very nice.
And you'll learn so much. You'll learn so much because you start from the really basics of singing that now you don't even think about it so much, you know, especially when you're professional and, you know, now other things are important. But then you go back to the basics and you study again and you restart and you learn so much and you get better from a certain point of view. But then there's the bad side that if you make improvements on yourself, you know, as a singer, because you've been teaching, so you feel that some things now you do them much better, but you cannot demonstrate them because you don't have a stage. You cannot sing. You don't have contracts. You don't have an audience. You have nothing. So you just can practice, and hope that someday the things will, you know, go back to normal.
It will.
So it's a very weird situation. It's very strange.
Yeah,
but for everyone, not just for me, but for everybody in the planet.
Sure. No, but I think, when I first saw you come on, sometimes you don't know, because I know as a performer, it has to be very emotional, that all of a sudden you can't, get on a stage. You can share your gift that you've
Exactly.
been sharing. And I have to say, probably psychologically at first, it could be very depressing. And you probably have some artist friends that maybe are not taking your attitude, which I think is commendable. You've really found a way to see the best side of this
Yeah.
situation and take advantage of whatever you can do,
Well,
which is so healthy.
but you have to. I mean, you don't
Right.
have a choice, because if
Exactly.
if you let sadness and depression take over, you're
Mm-hmm.
done.
Mm-hmm.
So what I did was, what will I thought about my father. He died when I was very young, but it was like he was born in 1926, so he was in World War II as a
Wow.
kid. So tough,
Yes.
tough
Mm-hmm.
man.
Mm-hmm.
But he was a lovely person. So I always think, what will, if my father was here,
Mm-hmm.
what would he tell me?
Mm-hmm.
He would tell me, like, come on, just do something with
Right.
your life,
Mm-hmm.
and that's it.
That's great.
As far as I know, I was talking with a lot of my colleagues and friends, and basically almost all of them, they took the same attitude.
That's great.
Because if you think about opera survived so many wars, you know, the major wars in the past century, and then World War I, II, everything. This pandemic will not stop opera, will not stop arts. Nothing can, because without art, without music, famous phrase, without music,
Mm-hmm.
life will be a mistake.
I love that.
So, Nietzsche. So we have to always look at the bright side and train ourselves and be ready for when the things will start over. There's no other choice.
Exactly.
But this is a rule for everyone, I think. The way I see it, there's the only thing we can do. It's our responsibility. That's it.
Oh, it's so true. And really music has helped me, because, I live alone, and, the quietness, which I'm not used to. I'm not if anyone knows me, I'm not a quiet person, and I love people, and I get energized around people. So not being around people, even with my job, I'm around people all the time. So I had
I
missed
know.
everyone, and I was just like, thank God for the computer. I needed that connection. I love this. I need to talk to
Exactly.
people. I need to see what's
Exactly.
going on with them. And the music really was, just great. I just was listening to music I hadn't listened to in a really long time, which was really nice. So music is medicine for me, and I
Yeah,
think for a lot of people. So,
of
again,
course.
thank you so much. And what you said was just like a great way, to close. And the one thing I want to share with everyone, they're probably wondering, how does Susan know an Italian opera singer? She lives in New York. How does she know this? And we connected, and I'm going to show this video to Silverio. My cousin Silverio, who I connected many years ago by accident through Facebook, which I'm not a big fan. And as time goes on, I become a less fan of social media. I'm sorry if anybody works for social media companies, but I'm not a fan of it. But I am a fan of Facebook for only this reason, that they connected me to you, because it's just been a very nice experience. And
Yeah.
I value our friendship, because I went to one
Yeah, me
opera.
too.
I went to one opera, and because of you, I've been to many operas, because you
That's
jumps.
nice.
It's true though. You jump started my love for opera, and it's been so great that you were so willing to share your
I'm glad to
talents
hear
with the
that.
McCallen Society, with our donors at St. John's, which was really nice. And the way
That was
Riccardo
a
and
pleasure.
really, thank you. And the way Riccardo and I met was through Facebook, because Silverio had connected us through Facebook. And I don't know if you know the story behind it, but when Silverio told me, oh, there's someone from your grandfather's hometown that I know is in New York visiting. And I said, oh, that's very nice. I said, you know, if they want, I could show them around New York City.
Yeah.
I'm thinking you're just, you know, your average tourist coming to visit. And just he said in passing, he said, oh, you know, he's an opera singer. And I said, oh, okay. So when I give him a tour, I have to make sure that I show him the Metropolitan Opera House because he will want to see that. And then when we connected, I was like, so, you know, what are you doing in New York? And you're like, oh, I'm singing at the Met. And I'm like, what? You're an opera singer singing at the Met. Why did Silverio tell me this? This would have been an important, you know, fact to share. And I felt so silly. I was like, if Riccardo only knew I was going to give him a tour of the Met. And meanwhile, he's like the leading tenor, you know, singing. And then when you gave me the tickets, I was rushing. I was so excited because I've never been to the Metropolitan Opera House by myself. I usually, if I go to a performance, I go with friends. You know, when I go to the Met, I go with friends. I've never gone by myself, and I got to thank you. I will always do it because it was a great experience doing it all by myself. And so I was rushing to get the train, and I'm rushing, and literally I almost missed the train, which I would have missed the performance. I would have been late. And the train doors like closed. I put my foot in and I got on the train.
And go. Oh, yeah. You remember the movie Sliding Doors?
No.
Yeah,
really?
there's a similar.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
I never know. Oh, really?
If you have the chance, look at it, watch the beautiful movie Sliding Doors.
Sliding Doors. Okay.
Great. It's something like that. Something like that.
That's so funny.
Something
All right,
like
so I probably lived this movie because I get on the train, and of course, you know me, I'm very friendly. I start talking to this couple who turns out to be artists. I invite them to an event that we're having the next day at some art gallery, and they don't know how to get to the Met, ironically, because we start talking because that's another long story. He saw these shoes that I was wearing that I had heels that had like thick red heels on. And so he's asking me if you have my shoes, and we start talking. And so we're rushing to get to the Met, and I show them where to go. And now I don't even know where to go because you gave me the tickets, but I don't know where they are. So I asked the woman, I was like, I go all the way to the top because you gave me the tickets that morning. So I said, oh, they must be all the way up in, as we say, in seventh heaven, right?
Yeah.
And each time I go to each floor, and the woman's like, no, go another floor, another floor, another floor.
Huge.
So finally, I say to the woman, I'm so sorry. I really don't know where I'm sitting. She goes, you go down the stairs. I said, the stairs. And I see all these doors. And I said, no, it can't be. He got me a ticket to the box seats. Oh my God, you don't know. I was like, oh my God, this is so exciting. It's very Sex in the City for me. I was like, oh my God, this is so great. So I sit, and Riccardo got me tickets in the manager's box. So now I'm sitting with everyone, and I befriend this lawyer who's an avid season ticket holder. And I tell him the story about us and how we connected, and he becomes very interested. He moved his seat and he started to sit next to me, and we start talking and everything. I mean, it was so funny. And then I met you at the stage door, and that's when we first met. But it was just a whirlwind night, and I have to tell you, it's going to be in my life like the best experience.
Really? I'm so glad to hear that.
See, I'm crying. You made me cry.
Nice for you.
It really was. It was a great experience that I would never forget. And you shared that with me, and I thank you. No, it was really fun.
When you came, it was actually a very, very important night for me, because when you came, it's probably when I did my best show.
Oh, really?
It was the best night.
That's great. It was just amazing.
At least what I felt, you know, was the best of the trip.
It's so ironic because I wanted to see that show. I had gotten a postcard 3 months before I had connected with you, so I felt it was like foreshadowing, you know, because I was supposed to, exactly. And when you showed up on that stage, where you're in your gladiator costume, and the horses on the stage, and magnificent. Oh my God,
it's a beautiful staging. Beautiful
really
staging.
It really is.
And they, I think, like 2 years ago or something, they did the last one.
Oh, really?
And now there will be another staging of Aida, you know, at the Met, but that one they had to like they will not do Aida anymore with that staging, you know,
really?
with that setting. Yeah.
Oh,
Because
wow. So I got to see
I
that.
think it's something to do with copyrights
Oh,
that
okay.
expired or something, so they had to do
Oh,
another one, another different
interesting.
one.
Oh, so I got
But
to
that
see.
one,
How
the
exciting.
historical, the one that you saw is like the historical Aida of the Met,
Wow.
and they've been doing that for like 40 years or something.
Wow.
Beautiful. You remember the setting? I saw it the first time.
Yes.
I was like,
It was, I mean, for me, I hadn't been to the opera. My sister had given it to me for a birthday present, like maybe it was 8 years prior to seeing another opera. And that was that. So to see that opera, you know, was really wonderful, you know, for that to be my first one getting back into the opera
yeah.
scene. But I loved it. And then we went to Palm Beach, and that was ironic because the Panizzos already had tickets to your performance. And I called them
Really?
up and I
Oh.
said, oh, I'll get you tickets. And they said, ironically, that's the performance that we're going to see, the one that Riccardo. So they really loved meeting you, and they enjoyed your company. And we had dinner, the Panizzos and Riccardo, and
Oh,
that
yeah,
was nice.
that was very nice. I remember that.
And then the Kennedy Center is a nice venue too, when we went to see you at the Kennedy Center.
Oh, yes.
And that was May 2019 that we went to see you.
Yes, I think you came to one of the last performances.
The last
I think.
ones.
The last one,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was like the last or the one before the last. I don't remember.
I don't know.
But yeah, it was nice. Beautiful audience. Beautiful
So when
audience.
you
They
come
were
back,
so
now
warm.
that all the society members are meeting you now on this video, when you come back, everybody, see, you're gonna want to hear Riccardo because he has a beautiful, beautiful voice, and we hope that is sooner than later.
I will be so happy to perform everywhere in the United States. Call me, I'll be there.
Well, you know, we talked about John Pepe is on the board of the Naples Opera House.
Yeah.
We have to get you to Naples, Florida. I know you want to come. It looks
Absolutely.
like San Benedetto. It really reminds me of my grandfather's hometown. It really does.
They told me it's very nice and pleasant.
It's
And I'm
beautiful.
looking forward to see that. Looking forward to visit.
We have to get you there. Tell your manager that he has to call John Pepe, and we have to make this happen, because I know we came very, very close.
Yeah,
But
very
this
close.
time we're
Very
going to
close.
make it happen. Okay?
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
That's
Can't wait.
good. All right,
Can't
everyone
wait.
heard this. It's a promise. Right here, I have it recorded. Well, this is great. I'm so glad you're enjoying. How is your girlfriend? I hope she's well. Tell
She's
her
fine.
we said
She's
hello.
fine.
Tell her we
She's
said
fine.
hi. And
Absolutely.
and your family and everyone. Tell your Italian family from America says hello.
I will. I will.
Thank you so much for this time. And it's so good to see you and see that you're doing well. And we hope you get back to singing very soon.
Thank you very much to you.
Grazie.
And to all the people watching. And I hope I'll meet you, each and every one of you, soon. Very soon.
I hope so too. I hope so too. Thank you, Riccardo. Ciao.
You're very welcome.